I was very curious about this web series that you made, sort of on the sly, really, called Shelf Life. You know,
Yeah, good.
I didn't even really find out about it until I started like really like doing a deep dive about you, and like, it's this 4 season web series that did pretty well. I mean, it's got about like 10,000 views per episode,
Yeah.
and D. Bradley Baker, the famous voice actor from Avatar, The Last Airbender, so on and so forth, does the voice for one of the characters.
Well, Yuri Lowenthal and Tara Platt and Travis, so they're all well-known voice actors. I actually voice direct quite often, because I work in game design. And so I mean, I do everything, man. But we can talk about it all. We can get it all going in our thing. I don't know how you want to do it, but we can go whenever you're ready.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, sorry, sorry. We're rolling, but I'll cut down some of the
Oh, I didn't know we
some
were
of the.
rolling like that. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I can see recording now. So
Yeah, yeah, cool.
yeah.
Right on. Thanks for that. Yeah. So what are your go-to snacks? Are you a chili dog guy, or like,
No,
I
but I will
got.
tell you that was one of my most audacious last lines of a book. The last line of that entire series, with all the things happening, is chili dog. Right? It's kind of weird. It's an unusual thing to end on. Um, my go-to snacks. I'm a guy. If I've got a snack, it's chocolate. Probably that's it. I like chocolate. I'm all
Yeah.
good for that. Chocolate's
That
great.
that's the British
Yeah,
way. So it's
that's
all
right. Yeah, I
chocolate.
mean, it's my wife. It's my wife and kids who are the snack fiends, right? Like I buy snacks and I go upstairs to go eat like one bag of crisps or something, and there's nothing there, right? And it hasn't been there since like 2 days ago. And I'm like, when were you going to save me one? So I don't really snack a lot because I never get any of it. It's like a feeding frenzy in my house when I come in with sun chips or something.
Right on, man. I don't know. I kind of I like doing a little food talk. It's always interesting to me. Very
Absolutely,
cool.
yeah. I'm pretty simple, man. I eat like I know it's really weird for me is that I don't eat a lot of meat anymore. I'll like for dinner I'll eat like oatmeal because I quite like it. I don't I'm not a I'm pretty simple with food. Um, I don't care about big steaks, and I like simple food. And food for me, because of the way that I am, is very utilitarian. Right? I'm like I got food and I eat it, and then um, my epitaph will say, "Here lies Paul Jenkins. He ate when he was hungry and he slept when he was sleepy." That's it.
Well,
Yeah,
that's one of the that's like a Zen mastery thing, which
yeah.
leads us quite perfectly into the Ninja Turtles. So let me know when you're sort of running low on time. I'll just try and like put in 3 more questions or something like that. But all right, so I've read a little bit of samurai philosophy, and I've noticed the Leonardo character really embodies a lot of these traits. From the comic to the film, even the video games. In the first issue of TMNT, Leonardo kills the Shredder, and that's the real way of the samurai. They don't stop until they
Yeah,
kill you. It's like so.
yeah.
How much ninja lore came up in conversation when these characters were being worked on?
I think people see the Ninja Turtles they read more into the Ninja Turtles than was intended, right? So let's be fair about that. Kevin and Pete created the Ninja Turtles, and they did the comic books, and they loved it. It was very much a riff on Frank Miller.
Mm,
The Hand and the Foot Clan, right? I mean,
right,
this
right,
is all
right.
about the same thing, and so they loved Frank Miller's work, and they sort of had their homage to it, and it was the Ninja Turtles. It was a cool project.
Mm,
They were in the black and white boom. They sold pretty well, but then their first print of the Ninja Turtles was like 2,500 copies, right? That's it. That's all they were. And yet, as time went on, um, the people see it differently. So what I think is quite funny, having been there, is people will say, "Oh my God, I remember, Baxter Stockman, or one of these characters, one of these like, it shaped my childhood. The Stingray character was like my favorite character, and I lived and died with that character." And
Right.
unfortunately, I know that it was sort of like a bunch of people sitting around in an office going, and we should do a Stingray. And they go, yeah, okay, that sounds good. And we made a Stingray and sent it off to the game. So there wasn't as much intent, not in a gratuitous way, but there wasn't,
Right.
there wasn't this like design to do the way of the samurai. There was, because they, Kevin and Pete were both into that. But more like, the philosophy of it and the whole idea of warriors and honor and stuff like that has been built into the Ninja Turtle lore over time, which Kevin and Pete built in, and the films built in, and all the cartoons and everything. It was all built in, but
Right.
it's almost like it takes a while to shape those characters. You look at the first books; they're not the same as the comic books that came later, and it's certainly not as the cartoon and not as the film. They're all very different. Including, someone once asked me, you must hate the Michael Bay version of the Ninja Turtles. I'm like, I don't hate that. That's just a new version of them. It's okay. It's like, there's a take
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah.
It, it,
I like the monster look. I really did.
it was interesting. It was a different thing, right?
Yeah.
We the sort of 2012 version of the Ninja Turtles too. That was a really cool cartoon. It was great. It was like, they did really well. And then
Oh yeah.
blew it,
Yeah.
they blew it around about 2018. They killed it. So it's like, but only in my opinion, right? Like, what do I like? Well, it's the things I like, right? So
Sure.
yeah, there wasn't as much of an adherence to sort of specificity as you're saying. It was more like it was being guided and built as it went.
Yeah. So what about you in terms of like, I mean, actually it's funny because you talked about your documentary about fandom, you
Yeah.
know, is is there anything for you in terms of fandom where maybe you're a little much and like, the person could tell you, no, that's not the way it is, and you're like, shut up, it has to be the way that I thought it was. Like,
So I'm a weird person in all of this. I work in the I don't have a fan type mentality. I'm not really. I think the closest I come to a fan mentality is that I'm a fan of Crystal Palace Football Club in England, right? That's my team.
mhm,
When we play, I want us to win, but oh well, if we don't, if we don't, I'm not
yeah,
dying. Like
yeah,
it's sort of like my one thing, right? I don't, like if you're asking me who do I want to meet, it's not like Stan. I mean, I met Stan, and also,
wow,
Stan actually liked my work, which is good. He liked the Sentry.
that's great, that's incredible.
But my heroes would be, different. I mean, my heroes are like Pele. My hero is Muhammad Ali, Neil Armstrong, and the Dalai Lama. So I'd like to meet those people, but I would wait about an hour. That's about it. And then if I'm going to wait an hour and a half, I'm not bothered. So I don't really have a fan type of approach to anything.
I think you'd wait an hour and a half for Muhammad Ali though.
I
Let's be
would
real.
for the greatest, I would have given him an hour and a half. Yeah. And
Yeah,
actually, you know what? Who else? Hagler, man. Like, I loved Hagler. He was the best pound for pound boxer that ever lived, and he sadly died a few days ago, which is really sad. I might have
wow.
given Marvelous about an hour and a half of my time, sure.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a book out there called the Berlin Boxing Club. I don't know if you heard about that one, but it's this kid in like wartime Poland, I think, World War II. And he's training in boxing and he's like worshiping Max Schmeling.
Oh, Max Schmeling, yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
So cool. And so, and he's sort of, living in poverty. And so he assumes that if he can get to the Max Schmeling level, all of his problems will go away, you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
and, like he just like wanders into Max Schmeling's hotel or whatever. And Max is like, look, you know, I'm dealing with this too. Like, I don't have as much control as you might think,
yeah. Because
you know.
he was basically a puppet. One, I mean, he's being misused. You look at these people.
Mhm.
And I've met not a lot of people, who have had a lot of accomplishment. I mean, I'm lucky enough to have met a lot of actors, very well-known people, and
Cool.
be involved with a lot of these people. And what I think is really interesting here is, you want to understand something, that when we look at our heroes, it's great if they've got something. But sports heroes are a bit different, maybe,
Mm.
you know. But let me tell you something. Neil Armstrong. Can you imagine that they pointed that thing out there and they were like, I hope They did it with way less computing power than this thing that I hold in my hand, like way
Right.
less,
Very
you
true.
know, like an
Way
abacus,
less.
basically. And so you sent those people out, and there's a bit that people almost don't even understand is that the ice water in his veins, right? They are landing the Eagle. They're putting that thing down on the moon, and they don't even know if they're going to land and just sink in the moon. I mean, none of this they knew, right?
Right.
And as they're coming into land, he's like, I don't like those rocks there. And he moves it, the lander across it, and then he lands on the other side with maybe 2 seconds of fuel left, right?
That's right. I
And
forgot
when he
about that.
did it, he only had about 17, and you can hear them on the other side. He says, you know, the Eagle has landed. And then the other guy on the other end goes, Neil, you got a bunch of people about to turn blue down here, right? Because they knew what he had done. Now I want to meet that guy, right?
Right.
That's the guy I want to meet. The guy
Yeah.
that literally was the first person to do it, but landed the craft like that. That's somebody that's special. And so we have all this idolizing of people that are,
Oh,
I've done a thing. You know, we should care about people that we meet. You know, we should idolize people that are real and valuable to us. You know.
that's a great sentiment. I'm really glad you said that. Absolutely, I agree. Yeah, honestly, part of why I'm started this podcast is I do want to expand the breadth of people that we talk to, or hear stories about. I'm so thrilled that you came on. I'm gonna throw a couple more questions your way. So one more Ninja Turtles thing. Uh, from my research, it looks like you did one Turtles issue,
Yeah, yeah,
issue number 43, and
I did.
then you wrote an animated short with Kevin Eastman
Yeah,
for Nickelodeon. It's got like 9 million views on YouTube.
yeah. I
Um,
directed it as well. It was fun.
that's really cool. Did that scratch the itch, or do you have a TMNT story in the back of your mind?
Um, you know, it scratched the itch to the most extent. I mean, I don't have a lot. I mean, I think that Kevin and I talked about lots of different ideas. Actually, the one that we ended up doing was not the one that we both really kind of wanted to do.
Right.
We did the one that Nickelodeon liked the most, but the one
Mm.
that we wanted to do was different. We always got the brother humor between them. We loved the conversations that Kevin and I had
Love
would
it.
always be laughing about, because what brothers do, there's almost like there's a very trite kind of concept that the brothers will go, well, you're stupid, yeah, well, you're ugly, great, yeah, well, get lost, all right, I'm leaving, see you later. And then
Yeah.
they go, all right, see you later, fart face. And then he leaves, and they all turn to each other and go, I love that guy, right?
Yeah.
That's the way that boys are when they're just
Right.
boys, right? When they're little boys,
Right.
even grown-ups are like that. The guys will sort of like crack on each other. And
Right.
so we had this idea where they were at the top of Times Square, and
Uh-huh.
they place a vendor in the middle of Times Square that sells a particular type of pizza that they all want. And
Cool.
it's the best pizza in New York City. And because they're ninjas, the job is to get across Times Square without being seen, buy some pizza, and get back out,
Yeah.
which Splinter would hate. And the
Right.
idea is to like sabotage each other. So as they're trying to get across, one trips the other one, and then everyone looks around, but they've hidden. And it would have been a funny joke. It was just this thing of like brothers being dumb.
Yeah.
And
I love
right
that.
when they get to the pizza place, I think we were going to have April or someone walk up and buy the last piece of pizza and sort of look at them and go like, too bad, boys, and walk off eating the pizza. And it would have been a cute little story because it was all about like brothers and how dumb they can be. And by the time they sabotage each other too many times, all the pizza's gone, which is typical brother, right? We
Yeah.
want that story, but I mean, I'm not. There's no itch that I need to scratch with them anymore. I think they've been in my life for 33 years. So
Wow. Wow. Um, that's still cool to know, definitely. I, you know, I've got this time with you. I gotta tell you, I always just kind of wanted to just switch the pairings and have Raph be with Donatello and have Leonardo be with Mikey. you know,
Yeah, yeah.
and
People ask me, by the way, which is your favorite Ninja Turtle? Well, which one do you like? Which one do you like?
oh, it's kind of roving. I mean, earlier in life, I would have definitely said Michelangelo, but then, them all just sort of dealing with their personalities, like you talked about, and being a ninja like that. So Leo with sometimes it's Leonardo dealing with just the concept of being a leader and being considered that way, and then sometimes it's Raph just channeling his uh unquenched rage,
Yeah,
to be a good ninja, and he's got the sai, which, what a thousand tiny cuts for someone who's so angry, to be that precise,
yeah.
is really fascinating. I think, yeah, I think right now it would probably be Raph, but it changes all the time.
Mine's funny. I think I share this with Kevin. I can't remember. I think maybe Kevin likes Leo. I can't remember. But I always loved Donatello. That was my guy, right? And
Yes.
it was just he was the different one. He had the staff. It was all different, So it's funny because you can adhere to these characters, and I learned a lesson about storytelling very early on when I was working with Ninja Turtles, and my young cousin Billy came over from Britain, and he was a really young little boy. He was only about 5 or 6 years old.
Right.
And in Britain, you couldn't see the film, but it was in America. So he comes over with my aunt Vivian, and I took him. I mean, I was like royalty to him because I, worked with the Ninja Turtles, and I
Yeah.
took him to the film.
I can't imagine them to
And
be
so he
crazy.
came with me, and he sat on my lap for the
Hmm.
whole time,
Hmm.
and he loved Leonardo. And when Leonardo threw a punch, Billy would throw a punch with him. And
Yeah.
then in the middle of the story, he gets hit. Leo gets hit and hurt, and Billy couldn't believe it. He was devastated.
That's right.
And I'm like, my little cousin is living with this character. He's feeling every punch. He's throwing every punch.
Oh
That
yeah.
taught me something that people really, really connect to characters. And so I learned a lot from it, just from watching the way people react to this content. But I'm sort of pretty much done with the Ninja Turtles. Not that I'm done. I could tell a story with anybody, but I'm not necessarily climbing to find a way to tell a story with them.
I mean, you say 33 years, that's real time. And
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
and seeing it from its inception, no less, and that first movie alone, that's a great contribution to the lore, I think. Absolutely.
yeah.
Um,
I've done my time.
yeah, yeah. And it's like it was only planned for one issue, right? Now, 33 years later, that's,
Yeah, yeah.
uh, who'd have thunk, man? Incredible. Very cool. All right, so all right, let me just double check, see if there's any gold I haven't dug for. Are you game for maybe two more questions? Two
Go
more
ahead.
comments? All right, so actually on so some websites are saying that you're still writing Commissioner Gordon and Black Adam. That's in the past, or
I've
what
done
happened?
those. Yeah, those are finished.
Yeah.
We did a story with Black Adam that I think they knew they were making the movie, and they know kind of the way that I write. So they went, do us a big, flat out kind of get to the core of Black Adam's story. And the
Uh-huh.
commission thing was really about like it was more of an event, but I think that's the kind of book that I don't want to do anymore. I'm not really going to do like crossover events and stuff. There's nothing there for me. I want the reason for doing it other than it's a crossover, right? So yeah, those are done. The last one I did, I think for DC, I just did one, and then I'm trying to remember what it was because it's like apparently it didn't have a big. Oh yeah, I just did the Arkham Knights. That was good. So I
That's
do
cool.
comics every so often, but I don't do very many of them anymore. Yeah,
Yeah, that's, I mean, it's like you said, you did some great work for a long period of time. Yeah, why not explore new sunsets, I guess,
yeah,
I mean, I'm all about the comic book stuff, but like, can certainly see other there's other sunsets where,